All right, race fans, welcome to round two of the Monticello Motorsports Esports Championship. This is a very special night as we're coming to you from the outskirts of Sydney, Australia. The crowd has been amazing all week, and we've got a lot of great racing on tap for you tonight. We are at Oran Park, a decommissioned road race, a 1.6-mile layout, the traditional. This is grassroots racing. It's going to be exciting. And I'm telling you, this track, Dimitro, this track is so great because of the elevation change. So technical. The blind rise, the blind corners, the importance of visual references. These racers are going to have their hands full tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a track that, whenever I drive it, I always kind of feel a little lost. There's so many blind corners, as you said, and there's a crazy amount of elevation change. So you get really, really interesting features in the track, and the car and the balance of the car kind of gets disrupted quite often. But there's also plenty of opportunities to kind of get lost. The second to last corner has a really, really gnarly turn in where you're kind of turning in without knowing where you're going, and knowing where the apex is. So it'll be really interesting to see a lot of these drivers figuring that out. I know for a lot of these instructors and members, this is some of their first times driving Oran Park. So it's interesting to see when drivers come to a new track, how they quickly adapt and how they start to figure everything out quite quickly.
Well, McLaren is the flavor of the day. We've got Josh Green back on the grid tonight after missing the first race of the season. Josh Green on the pole. Peter Bank outside with Trent Walco right in his tailpipe.
Oh,
Nothing new to race fans. Look at these guys warm. Look at
I think we're green
we are
already.
excited. We are green right now. I thought we were doing a lap here. And wow, look at it's a drag race. Two McLarens into the corner. A
Oh, it's
little
someone backwards
squirrely
in the
there for Josh
background.
Green. Oh yeah. I was going to say track density and visual references and all the blind corners are going to make this race very special. Josh Green gets out clean. We'll go to the camera truck to see that replay back there if we can get our producer to take a look at that replay.
Yeah, it looks like we have a
Josh Green good.
ton of incidents in the background there. Looks like let's take a look. This is, I think, a little after the first corner. This is Vincent Sperano had an incident going into the right-hander. I think it's turn three, just a
Throws it in there.
little deep
Hopes and
there.
dreams. Ah, yeah,
Super
does not
unfortunate
work.
stuff. Let's take a look even
Yeah.
further back. Jason Cohen. This is going into turn one. Looks like some problems already. Maybe some contacts going down the front straight by chance.
I don't know, his car looked especially out of sorts there,
And
and
that's
just
Eric
all
Paterno.
kinds of cars. Yeah.
Ooh, does not look like Eric Paterno's having a great start to the day, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's gonna be really unhappy about that. Paterno, one of our most experienced sim racers and, also one of our most experienced he's our current real life GT4 champion at the club. Had a great season at the club in 2024, but Oran Park not being so nice to him as Josh Green continues to lead the pack. Um, Massive amounts of track out here. So much discipline required on this short layout. Peter Bank tracking him down, and Trent Walco right there in the Aston in third place. Nick Del Campo and Brian Hedian rounding out the top five, with Nick Leone in six. The Barthelms, Paul and Ian running seventh and eighth, and Alex Schneider right there in ninth, followed by Chris Peterson, the Hurricane, in 10th spot.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, the Barthelms twins, they came out with some really great liveries this time around. I think, if I remember correctly, yeah, Paul Barthelms with the Taco Bell Porsche. That's quite the paint job to have.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is a historic livery for a historic track. You can count on the Barthelms to bring the heat when it comes to these I don't know, commemorative liveries. I mean, their merchandise truck is on fire every week. They sell more diecast than any other racers in the series, and it's because of that kind of creativity, Dimitro. That Taco Bell car looking amazing tonight.
Absolutely. I might have to stop by their 10 and get some
Oh,
autographs after this because it's just too good.
oh, if you don't have an Ian Barthelm's trucker hat by now, really, what are you doing with your life?
Absolutely. We're hopping on board here with Paul Barthelms. Let's take a little walk through the track. Let's talk about some of the interesting aspects and that elevation change that we're talking about. So here on the front straight, headed down into turn one and turn two, it's a very, very long front straight, kind of deceptive. You can kind of get carried away and you can brake a little too late. Braking into this left-hander, get a little light there. Really hard brake into this actual left-hander here, the second corner. Open up your hands underneath the bridge you go. You want to make sure you hit your marks here going into this section. It's tight yet it's super quick and there's lots of time to be made and lost. And we hit this right hander. It's so much longer than you think it is. And someone going backwards, is that Trent? I think that was Trent in the background going backwards, up and over the bridge, long right hander. And this is where I think a lot of that elevation comes into play and can kind of throw you off. As you can see here, coming up the hill to the left, you have a lot of traction on turning, and it kind of starts to fall away as you go later into the corner. And then if we're talking about that blind left hander coming through that right hander, turning left, you don't really know where you're turning in. And then finally,
Oh,
the final corner.
what a combination. These right left, these quick right left combinations paired with that elevation change really unsettles the car and just puts a premium on car placement and car control throughout the lap. And you were
Absolutely.
right. That was Trent Walco. Trent Walco just hopes and dreams and could not hang on to it. And now he tries to rejoin the field. Tough break for Trent Walco.
Yeah, and Trent Walko, the only driver to be driving the Aston. Ooh, looking like he's going off track again. So not looking too hot for Trent, but one of the only drivers to actually opt for the Aston Martin. And during practice, it looked quite promising at the top of the timing sheet very quickly when he joined the session. But maybe some contact earlier on in the race. I really can't tell.
I don't know you know, I don't know, man. It's an inspired choice. I never want to second guess Trent, but going for the Aston is it it's a respectable choice. He's biting off a lot there. We'll see if he can make a comeback from ninth place.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And looking a little further up the field, Ian Barthelms on the tail of Nick Leone. Also, one of the few drivers to be driving the Mercedes. So we'll see how the Mercedes fares against the McLaren.
Yeah, you see, coming off that really long straight, there's a little compression there, close to the beginning of the braking zone, and it's not a hard break into that turn one, really fast turn one, and then big on the brakes as we turn in or turn two. Um, just a really, really amazing and interesting track.
Absolutely. And I gotta say, this McLaren is looking a lot more settled than that Mercedes. It looks like Nick Leone's really having to fight with that car to keep it on track. And Ian Barthelms has really smooth hands right now, I gotta say. Really putting in some really good driving. And I mean, I would be a little nervous if I was Nick Leone right now.
Yeah, the Merc has a lot of power, right? But you can tell the rear end of that thing is a little squirrely. It's it's a handful to keep it gathered up, and no doubt Ian Barthelm's really putting the pressure on Nick as well. Those two things together uh, has got Leone working hard inside that Merc. We'll see if Ian's got anything for him. Currently, Paul is not exactly in touch with Ian, so Ian has no problem from the behind. He's fully focused on the trunk of Leone right now.
Ooh, looking to the inside there, just trying to get in Nick Smears. I mean, look, the top four drivers right this second are in McLaren, so that means anything. It's probably the car to be in at this track. I have a lot of respect for all the drivers who have chose not to take the McLaren and make it interesting and show like, hey, you don't need to be in the McLaren to be fast. I think Nick is doing a great
Sure.
job at that right now, but I mean, look, it's a handful, and man,
Woo,
Ian Barthelms is
I'm telling
right there.
you, yes, he is. Look at that. Look how easy it is in there. Ian looks like Ian's ready to do a little Sudoku, maybe I don't know, have a panini. He's not bothered in there while the rear end of that Merc just continues to hop all over the track. Ian just closing the gap ever so slightly. I think Ian's going to have something for him. Nick trying to break the toe there to no avail.
Yeah, I gotta say, and phenomenal driving by Ian there. I saw he backed it off a little bit before going into the final corner, and you saw he was just focusing on getting the best exit possible. I mean, Nick was able to hook up that exit quite well, but man, if Nick was lacking a little too much there, I'm not sure if he would have had that place going to turn one.
Yeah, Nick's a little late on the brakes, a little
Ooh,
understeer in that Merc. Yeah,
that's close.
this is. I think this is going to be over. I think Ian's going to have Nick in short order.
I gotta say though, Paul able to capitalize on the opportunity and the battle in front of him. Looks like he was able to reel it in. It's only 5/10 behind Ian Barthelm's now. So man, Ian's got to make this move real quick if he doesn't want to have issues behind.
Well, as we were talking about in the pre-race, this track layout is so short. Track density is a problem, and therefore, traffic management, as always, is going to be a factor.
Absolutely. And
Late
speaking of
release there for Paul. Paul
yes,
almost a little too exuberant on the exit there, but he gathers it up and continues his assault of the McLaren as he tries to close the gap on Ian.
absolutely. And
Man, this is
talking
good
about oh
racing.
no, that's back markers causing a little bit of issues here for Nick
That's
Leone.
exactly right.
I think I saw a little bit of contact there. Can Ian get through smoothly? It looks okay. It looks like the Barthelms got through smoothly there, but it looks like Nick was almost backwards. Uh,
We are right at the halfway point. We are 10 minutes into this 20-minute race. Let's take a look at the field. Out front, still, you've got Josh Green pacing the field in his customary place. Peter Bank in second, Brian Hedian in third, Nick Del Campo in fourth, Nick Leone, followed by the Barthelms twins in sixth and seventh, Alex Snyder running eighth, Trent Walco in ninth, and Sean McAuliffe rounds out the top 10. Manny T right there in 11th with another, the senior Barthelms, running in 12th, and Vincent Sperano in 13th. Paterno still racing. Jason Cohen, lots of action back in the field. Those guys are dicing up. And the Immaculate, Brian Quealy, the BQ in 18th, running exactly where he started and has maintained that track position. BQ in 18th place, running to close out the field.
Absolutely. I mean, it looks like time has, over the duration of this race, this field has spread out a little bit. Now, this may be due to some of the incidents towards the beginning of the race. So I think going into race number two, we'll have a far tighter pack. Hopefully less less incidents into turn one. As fun as they are to watch, I know a lot of the drivers want to get, put in their best effort and put their best foot forward.
There's Brian Hedian with his hands full right now with Nick Del Campo. Del Campo just painting the rear, having his way with the quarter panel of Brian Hedian, but he can't quite get around him. Hedian's got his elbows out as they head onto the main straight, looking for that compression and that fast left-hander into turn one. Hedian opens the little gap there. Del Campo on the gas. Now big brakes looking into the turn two left-hander and under the Yokohama Bridge.
Absolutely. And you could see out of turn two, that outside has gotten quite dirty. It seems as a lot of drivers have been dipping their tires into the dirt there and bringing some of those marbles and the dirt onto the track. And with the new iRacing update, that actually makes a substantial impact. I've talked with a lot of drivers, and they've been saying that, during practice sessions, as soon as they dip their tires off, they really do feel quite the impact on in terms of grip in those sections of track. So I can only imagine that this track has gotten super, super slippery and dirty for a lot of these drivers, and a lot of them are having to alter their driving style to combat that.
Yeah, you can see from Del Campo's in car here, the amount of pickup that is coming off the back of Hedian's car. It looks like Star Wars inside of Del Campo's car. So there is a lot of debris on the track, a lot of pickup, and it does make an impact on the car's performance throughout the race. And it only gets worse as the race goes on.
Absolutely. And look, this is not an easy track to pass on. It's quite technical, and the braking zones are all kind of weird. Like right here, as you saw, there's that slight left-hander into like the actual deep braking zone for turn two. So you got to make your move super early or in a place where the driver in front of you least expects it. Ooh, contact between
Oh,
Ian and Paul Barthelmes there.
oh, Barthelmes over the curbing, the Porsche in the air for a second there. That is not going to help his lap times, kids.
Absolutely. It looks like Ian was just trying to dip out a little bit and show himself in Nick Leone's mirrors, but maybe caught Paul Barthelmes out while doing that. Maybe just broke a little too early in that case. Taking a look back
Yeah,
at the.
I think
Oh,
they were both trying to get a look at Leone. I think everybody was a little too aggressive there, and Paul just ran out of real estate.
absolutely.
Here's
Jo-
your race leader in another zip code.
Absolutely. Josh Green is sleeping. He is
And
8 seconds.
Peter
That's crazy.
Bank, Peter Bank, a little over his head, trying to catch Josh Green, put it in the wall.
Oh, did he? That is
Yeah, he sure
absolutely
did.
heartbreaking for Peter Bank because now he has the
Uh,
pressure behind him of Brian Heady and Nick Del Campo. And to be honest, if
yeah,
I'm Brian, I would not be very happy right now because the last thing you want to do is focus in front of you and behind you.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Man,
think Peter Bank he had a great position, and now the field has caught up to him a little bit. He's got a lot more problems now.
that is not good. Let's take a look at Peter going off track. This is going into turn one and turn two. Just a little wide, carrying a little too much speed and just not able to make that corner. Does he actually touch the wall here?
Yeah,
Is
I
the good?
think
Oh,
maybe
that's
yeah, he
straight in the
did hit.
wall.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
not looking good for Peter Bank.
Lucky for him that McLaren is so durable, as McLarens are known to be.
I mean, yeah, as long as he doesn't get an electronic issue, that thing will make it to the end. That carbon tub is as strong as they make it. But man, with those drivers behind, hopefully he doesn't get too much in his head.
Well, Peter is, as we've said in just about every race we've seen him drive, he is unflappable behind the wheel. He is a pro, and he knows about poise, and he knows how to stay out of his mirrors. I suspect that the traffic behind will not be a problem for him.
I completely agree with you there. It looks like either he's trying to use every inch of track, or maybe he's not thinking super great right now. I mean, he's using a lot of grass in my head. Oh, and coming up with a back marker. Let's see how they handle this. Oh, might be overslowed here. Completely overslowed, actually. This might result in a position change. Take a look going into
We only
turn
got
one.
4 minutes left. These are really, really quick little laps. Lap time here. I mean, these guys are running 108s. Um, it's These laps are clicking off really fast. We've got about 4.5. We got 3.5 minutes. Look at here inside Headian, showing him the nose. Tries to get inside there. Peter Bank not having it. Closes the door down on Headian, but Headian is definitely giving him something to think about. I tell you what, I would not like to be Brian Headian right now. He's attacking Peter Bank and also under pressure from Del Campo.
Absolutely. And once again, Peter Bank dropping a tire there. I really don't know if that is if that's keeping the lap time low. I can't think with all of that load being on the outside wheel and being in the grass. There's no way that's faster. But he is pulling away.
Yeah, he's got something figured out.
Oh,
Can he
two,
hold on though? Three
absolutely.
minutes to go.
Let's take a look a little further back. Eric Paterno, I think, has himself a little bit of a battle here with Manny Tartaglione.
Manny in the traditional German hardware. None of that British stuff for the Tartagliones. They are exclusive to Bavaria and Stuttgart. So Manny hanging on in that Porsche product while Paterno with the neon wheels. Tribute to Brian Headian there. Eric Paterno getting it done in that McLaren, but can't quite get her. Oh
Oh,
no, it's a high
no!
speed. Look at Oh my goodness. As we talked about early in the race, that section of the track right there is so blind and requires so much discipline. Man, he got the turn in wrong and it really cost him.
Let's take a look at that real quick. Manny turns in here. The car gets a little light in the rear. Oh, just dips
Yep.
it. Turns in a little late, dips the outside tires in the
Yep.
grass, and by that point, you are a passenger. There's just nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Oh, super
Yeah,
unfortunate
the
stuff.
seeds of that mistake were laid the turn before, right?
Yeah,
He was a
absolutely.
little just a little late and the track out was a little too much and the rear end is coming around.
Oh, it's just no good. Taking a look up further, looks like Nick Del Campo is ahead of Brian Hedian here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's going to sting. Edian's not going to be happy about that. The Red Bull McLaren gets around him and begins its assault on Peter Banks' car,
Oh,
but there is precious little time.
Peter Bank was slow
Look at
going into
that.
turn two and just able to capitalize on it. Nick Del Campo just saw Brian slowing down to not try to crash into Brian and yeah, into Peter, sorry, and just made it work.
Yeah, Brian got jammed up, and but now Brian coming back on him.
Oh
Look at this
wow.
wheel to wheel Brian not having it.
That
Just
is
muscles the Red Bull
uh,
car out of the way.
that is a ridiculous place to pass. I've never seen anyone pass there. Oh,
Yeah,
and it doesn't seem like Nick Del Campo was happy about that one, using those high beams, I think,
no,
more than
he's
they were
not.
intended to ever be
Yeah, you
used.
know what? He is breaking the signal stalk right off the steering column. But you know what, man? Hedian has sharp elbows and is not afraid to use them.
Wow, I can't even begin to imagine how that move happened, actually, to be completely honest here.
I know. I'd love to get those guys in the booth in between these races to talk about that sequence of events.
Oh, wow, but you could tell Nick Del Campo is not happy about any of this. Look at that aggressive move, showing the nose on the inside, not able to make it work, but definitely in Brian's head here.
Well, this is the last lap. We're white flag here. Checkers next time by. Hedian doing everything it takes. His car is about 40 feet wide. He is determined not to let that Red Bull car around.
Uh,
Onto the main straight now for the final time. It's Checkers this time by. The crowd is on its feet and across the line for checker
okay,
flag finish.
wow, that
How about
was
that?
great stuff. Great racing there at the end. I mean, my mouth was ajar. I could not believe that Brian Hedian was able to make that move. Looking further back, Nick Leone was able to hold off that P5. Ian Barthelm's keeping that P6 and Paul Barthelm's P7. Trent Walco, big issues in that race, going down 5 positions to P8. Alexander Schneider 2 positions up, P9, great finish for him to be in the top 10, and Sean McAuliffe will round out our top 10, just 1 position back from the qualifying position, and with Eric Paterno not too far behind.
Yeah, it was a good showing out of Paterno after a rough start. You just got to wonder what could Paterno do if he can put together a clean race.
Yeah, super unfortunate stuff for Paterno. I mean, I saw him on the outside of turn one and two there, and I was just, it's a heart drop moment. It's just like, man, it's super unfortunate stuff. But let's take a look one more time at our winner here, Josh Green. Way to go. 8.3 seconds ahead. Wow. That is
Yeah,
intense stuff from
that is
Josh Green.
the way it's done, my friends. Hey, congrats to Brian Quealy moving up 3 spaces to 15th from his qualifying position. We always like to see the Queelys doing good out here. Happy to have him in the race. And we'll be back for race number 2 in what, about 4 minutes or so, Dimitro.
Yeah, I think so. We should be back very soon. Let the drivers warm up. Practice those sections which are a little blind, but let's take a look at some of the advertisers we have.
Letting these guys got to get some Powerade, get some electrolyte replacement.
All right, cool. We're good. Cool, cool, cool. Should be all good. Yeah, I wasn't expecting the safety car to do 1/6 of a lap. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, Josh was able to make this one more of like a sunset race, so it looks real mega on the cameras. Hopefully, I was talking. I think everything's set in stone, unfortunately. But I was saying we should definitely do a night race or like a day to night race where they speed up the time. Because that would be incredible.
Wind me up, put me down, stop me up and watch me go. I'll be running circles around you sooner than you know. A little off center and I'm out of tune. Just kicking this can along the avenue, but I'm alright.
All right, we're back. I tell you, that was some exciting midfield racing in that first race. I am looking forward to see what these guys have got figured out. Super quick lead around here. The cars are rolling off right now. Josh Green's still on the pole. Peter Banks still outside front row. Big Del Campo around Hedian. Now Hedian back where he's supposed to be. So here we go for round 2. These ticket sales, this crowd is insane here in the outskirts of Sydney. So much stuff to do in Sydney, and yet all of these spectators are out here. And we are green flag racing. It's 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, big sideways. The Merc, Del Campo. Oh my goodness. Del Campo backwards in the wall. No, it wasn't. Nope. Leone and Del Campo backwards off in turn 1. And And look at here. This is what the kids pay the big money for. You want to see Josh Green work traffic. Everybody's like, "Oh man, Josh Green always leading." Well, hey, now you get to see him pass somebody. And just like that, he muscles Peter Bank out of the way. Wow. He goes, "Thanks. Thanks, Peter Bank. I'm going to go back to P1 now." Wow. Peter Bank doing what we call that is the hopes and dreams breaking point. Peter Bank just hoping and dreaming that the car is going to stop in time. Look at these camera angles here. Hedian all over that bumper of Peter Bank. Thanks as always. Oh, thanks as always. Our TV control. I tell you, the director and camera crew here at Oran Park is amazing. How we're going for it. No, he's looking pretty good back there. Really smooth. The Aston Martin Racing machine looking really good here in the early going. I think they borrowed this car from the Kaminsky's. This is, I think, Johnny Kaminsky's old car. Trent was able to repurpose this thing and get it down to Australia just in time for this race. And it is fully sorted, man. Yeah, as he follows these 3 McLarens. Um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We will see. If anybody can do it, Trent can, but boy, I don't know. It's a tall order. Yeah, Paterno is a very, very talented sim racer as well as a real life racer. He is dedicated to his craft. All he needs is a little space and a good start, a fair start. And he's gotten it here tonight in race 2. And I, for one, am looking forward to see what he can do with that car. Yeah, Hedian being a total gentleman there, giving Trent all the space he needs. And Trent just pestering him with that Aston. Right, they're clipping off. That's Todd Ratura there. Actually, no, I don't think that's not Todd Ratura. That's actually Juan Rivera. Uh, Juan Rivera there getting clipped by the leaders, and they make quick work of him as they work back around. Ooh, and that's Rivera into the dirt back there. Ooh, there's Manny T. Nosed into the wall. Ooh, tough break for Manny. Oh, it was mega. Oh no. Rivera can't keep it underway either. Oh, that's too bad. Too bad. Meanwhile, Nick Leone hanging around back there in that Merc, all over the tail of Vince Sperano. Two Mercedes products really duking it out. And now you can see Paterno really starting to apply the pressure to Barthelms, Ian Barthelms in that McLaren. Ian now has a different sort of animal behind him. It's not another Barthelms, it's Eric Paterno, the Swifty Swiss.
Absolutely, and we've seen Paterno and his ability to make moves stick. Paterno definitely has a little more of an aggressive driving style in my view, but he makes it work. Whenever he's able to make those moves, he makes them sticks. He shows, hey, I'm here and I'm here to stay and I'm here to take this place. So it'll be interesting to see how Eric Paterno sort of traverses this track. As we said, it's an interesting track to drive. It's not the easiest place to pass. But I think Eric Paterno is going to start to open some opportunities and open some doors for himself to make those moves and maybe make it to the top five.
I can tell you this, Paterno, you see there in his signature blue and white racing gear, is really keen to get around Barthelms and be the top finishing member in tonight's race. He definitely is wanting to get to that fifth spot.
Absolutely. It's really fascinating to see the way these drivers come back onto this front straight. They go so incredibly wide to the point where the telemetry genuinely thinks that they're about to pit stop. I get the I get the beep on my screen saying, "Hey, this driver's about to pit stop. Take a look." I'm like, "No, they're using all of the track." It's such a fascinating thing.
And how about Peter Bank now giving Josh Green something to think about? You have a quick train here, all the way from 1 through 5, really close racing. I mean, clearly Josh must be, I don't know if Josh is texting his girlfriend or if he's studying some engineering. I don't know what Josh is doing up there to be distracted like this, but Peter Bank able to give him a little something to think about. It's very interesting racing. And like I said, this is what the crowd pays the big money for.
Absolutely. And you can see Peter Bank is using every inch of this track at the moment. As I say that, he goes a little wide there into the final corner. But using every inch of this track, he is trying to find an opportunity to make that move past Josh Green and give him something to think about.
Brian Hedian running a really good, clean, smooth race. Trent Walco running in fourth. Ian and Paterno right there, fifth and sixth. Then you've got Sean and Paul Barthelms running in eighth. Snyder and Nick Leone making ninth and 10th. Let's see, there's Owen Barthelms in 13th. Manny in trouble. Juan Rivera in trouble. Jason Cohen not looking good. Del Campo behind the wall. Just a tough night for those guys. Morgan Duffy. Morgan Duffy had a little thing going there, but could not keep it going.
Yeah, super unfortunate stuff. I mean, man, turn one and two, catching some drivers out once again. It's a tough set of corners. It's super technical, and that's someone backwards. Is that Eric Paterno? More heartbreak for
Oh,
Eric Paterno in
ain't
race
it
two.
so? Say it ain't so, Paterno.
Sean McAuliffe and Eric Paterno involved in a little incident in race two. Super unfortunate stuff. Eric Paterno was having such a good race.
Yeah, those two guys, Sean McAuliffe and Paterno, no strangers to racing in real life, good friends, great members in real life. They have duked it out on the track time and time and time again. And now here they are mixing it up in the sim world. These two competitors really a credit to the club. Um, we love to see them around Monticello. We love seeing them here. Hate to see them get tangled up like that, but lucky for them, the fast repair, they're back underway.
Absolutely. Let's take a look back here. Eric Paterno, I think, it goes a little wide into this uphill left-hander, just touches the outside grass, and Sean McAuliffe has
Oh,
nowhere
boom.
to go.
Yeah.
Super unfortunate stuff.
Tough break for McAuliffe in that Porsche.
Taking a look back up front, this front four pack, they are close, and it's still anyone's race.
Yeah, it looks like an R4. It looks like an R4 race. We just crossed the halfway point. And speaking of which, if you want to be quick like the kids in class R4 at Monticello, our teen camp at Monticello, America, the world, in fact, the world's only teen racing camp, session 1, which is always the most popular. That's our intro to motorsports. Just today, we moved the dates from June 22nd. It does not kick off on June 22nd. It now kicks off on August 3rd. So if those kids are going late into the school year, if school year is going to keep them kind of jammed up into June, you now have an opportunity to do that session 1 of Monticello's world famous teen racing camp in August. August 3rd is our session 1 Intro to Motorsports teen camp at Monticello. Contact your sales rep at Monticello to book your seat for your child in America's only sleepaway teen racing camp. And now back to the action here. We're back on board with this Aston Martin of Trent Walco as he seeks to get around Brian Hedian as he shows
Oh
him the
my
nose
God.
lap after lap after lap. Oh, what a race, kids.
Well, Trent was about to give Brian something to talk about. That was incredibly close. I bet that Trent's heart dropped there for a second, and as long as Brian wasn't keeping his eyes in the mirrors, he may have had a heart drop as well. That was scary stuff under brakes.
Yeah, I think Trent had the run on him there, but he just could not get wide to make that pass.
Yeah, just super unfortunate for Trent. You can see that he has the pace, but it's a difficult track to pass at. You gotta have that, man, just the aggression to make it work and make it stick. You mean, look, you may make the pass and someone may flash at you like there's no more flashing to ever be done in this entire world. But man, it's just it's unfortunate stuff. You could tell that Trent just is trying to find any which way he can make it past Brian, especially with Peter
So,
Bank and Josh Green slowly starting to make a little gap between them.
yeah, the action up front, Hedian is having trouble maintaining contact with Peter Bank, but Trent Walco not having any trouble at all maintaining contact with Hedian. And you're talking about the flashing, the full flashing, flashing like there's no tomorrow. What we call the full Del Campo.
Mm,
So yeah, they may go full Del Campo if they're trying to break the flasher off of the steering column.
absolutely. We're gonna take a look at some of the
Press
battles.
that button right through the back of the steering wheel. Um,
Absolutely.
let's
Take
look.
a,
Let's look at these Mercs back in the back of the field.
Absolutely. Vincent Sperano behind Zachary Rosenberg. This battle's quite close, I gotta say. The gap keeps fluctuating. It opens up and it closes down. Looks like Vincent Sperano is really making up a lot of time during the lap, but coming into turn 1 and 2, just struggling to piece it together to make a move past Zachary Rosenberg.
I gotta say, despite the Barthelm's historic livery there in the Taco Bell cars, my tip of the cap tonight, with Jordan Klein not being on track, I think Zach Rosenberg wins for the most elegant and classic racing livery in that Porsche right there with the white wheels, the single red stripe. That is a very, very good looking race car. Aquaman there looking really spiffy in that Stuttgart machine.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That thing looks absolutely stellar. That is a very, very good looking car. And you know what they say? Look good, you drive good. Oh, and as I say that, unfortunately.
That, my friends, is what we call the commentator's curse. Zach, you're doing awesome as you drive it straight into the wall. Good job, Zach Rosenberg.
Well, I guess Vincent Sperano was able to get into those mirrors quite well, and able
You
to
think
get.
what was your clue there, Demetrio? What was your clue that Zach Rosenberg was looking at his mirrors?
It's great. I actually can't put a finger on it. It's at the tip of my tongue, but
As Sperano goes 4 off in turn 5. I mean, oh man, these guys are getting a little squirrely here late in the race. The commentators also getting squirrely late in the race. Less than 5 minutes to go in this tilt, with Josh Green still out front and Peter Banks still on his tail.
absolutely. Let's keep jumping around the grid. Alex Schneider looks like he's got a little drive by himself. Just some nice clean air. Very, very nice Red Bull car right there. Really great color on that car as well. It's kind of like this like Silverstone. Reminds me of the BMW Silverstone 2 color. It's quite
For sure.
beautiful. Only back one spot from the start. Unsure if there was an incident early on, but putting in some great lap times right now. Uh, and I gotta say, put in a pretty good best lap with a 108.67, and these laps have been super consistent coming out of Alex Schneider.
What's going on back there with Owen Barthelms and Chris Peterson? I'd be interested in there he is, Owen with the Nürburg King. Now that is an inspired livery as well. Tip of the hat to Owen. Speaking of Nürburgring, if you want to drive Nürburgring, I'll be hosting a group of members in June to the ring, as we do every year. The world's greatest piece of pavement, at least the world's second greatest piece of pavement. If you want to drive the Nürburgring full track lapping, private Nürburgring lapping, call me, email me. I will get you into Germany and onto the ring.
That was a great segue. My hat is
I
off
should
to.
take all. Oh, I should take all. I'm speaking directly to Melissa Barthelms right now. I see 4 Barthelms on the ring this summer.
Mm, I completely agree with you there. I mean, look, the paint job says it all. It says it all. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Owen is telling me reserve 4 seats for the Barthelms for Nürburgring this year. I'm pretty sure that's what that livery means. That's what I'm going to take it as.
Yeah, absolutely. And I gotta say, Barthelms killing it with the paint jobs this evening. It doesn't get much better than the Barthelms when it comes to paint job. They definitely are scrolling through, trading paints hours on end, trying to find the perfect paint job
There's
because
no doubt.
they
No
come
doubt.
out with a banger every single time.
And you can count on Ian for the Checo tribute. I mean, Ian bringing the Checo tribute. We've got the Nürburg King, and the Taco Bell. The Barthelm's creativity knows no bounds. Clearly inspired by Melissa back home. She is watching the race and nodding approvingly.
Absolutely. Looks like Paul Barthelms is running into some issues. Is he boxed currently? Looking at the stats on the side, Paul Barthelms went off earlier. Man, turn one and two being the culprit as always. Just a little
Oh,
wide here and just, man,
oh, there it is. The Crunch Wrap Supreme. Oh, that is definitely a crunch wrap for Paul Barthelms right there.
absolutely able to back it out just ever so slightly, but I think that was just too much damage to the front of that Porsche, and it looks as though Paul Barthelms will be retiring for this race.
Yeah, not the way he wanted to spend the rest of this race. We're
Absolutely,
down to about a minute and a half left. We're going to be white flag really soon here.
absolutely. Josh Green still at the front. Not much to update there. Gotta say, looking still pretty good.
Shocker.
And man, Trent Walco still just at it. He is. I think this is now white flag. So or no, next time around will be a white flag. So Trent Walco hoping to see an absolute insane move out of him to take that last step on the podium.
Yeah, I believe this will be white flag here going by the podium, going by the start finish line. Hey, for all our talk about the great Trent Walco in that Aston Martin machine, You've got to give an amazing tip of the hat to Brian Hedian for turning in 20 solid minutes of work here. He's had a mirror full of Trent Walco for 19 minutes and has not even dropped a wheel. The kid is killing it. Brian Hedian really driving a great race tonight.
Absolutely. And even though Trent Walko does have a faster lap on the board than Brian Hedian, that has not phased Brian at all. He is crossing his T's and dotting his I's and making sure that, oh my goodness, Trent Walko getting a little. Is that
Look at
Peter
this. Look at
Bank?
Peter Bank. Peter
Pe-
Bank getting collected by Hedian and Walco.
Peter Bank not
And
having the best of evenings here, loses out on the podium in the third to last corner.
yeah, Peter Bank in second place for every lap except the one that counted. Wow, Peter Bank. And there is Ian across the line. There's Paterno across the line. What a race for all those guys. Paterno and Sean McAuliffe recovering after that incident to finish 6th and 7th. Really great drive for both of those guys.
Absolutely. Even though there's that incident with Eric Paterno earlier in this race, able to make up another position after that, which is great stuff from him. Nick Leone, as we see, crashing right there, taking the 8th spot, down 3 spots from qualifying, unfortunately. Alex Schneider, P9 in that beautiful Red Bull Mobile, and through his finger goes through his steering wheel as he destroys the high beam button. Uh, and finally, in P10, Vincent Sperano taking the last spot in the top 10, absolutely just destroying the wall there. Zachary Rosenberg,
What
P11.
a great race.
Owen Barthelms, P12. Manny Tartaglione, P13. Chris Peterson, P14. Ron Trenka, P15. Paul Barthelms, P16. Super unfortunate incident for him later in that race. Juan Rivera, P17. Morgan Duffy, P18. Jason Cohen, P19. Nick Del Campo with the unfortunate incident in turn one at the beginning of this race, taking P20, with P21 being occupied by Todd Ratura, and lastly, Brian Quealy rounding out the final entry. And that is that. That was race two, uh,
Tell you what,
race two. Yes, race two,
an
race two.
inspired choice. Oran Park was an inspired choice by our race committee. I was happy. I mean, it was a great trip, long flight to Sydney, but a great race here from the outskirts, the suburbs of Sydney, Australia. It was fantastic. I hope you race fans enjoyed it. We'll be back in 2 weeks for race number 3. And I tell you what, it's going to be great. This season is going so smashingly right now. Dimitro, what else do you have for us before we sign off tonight?
Yeah, nothing top of mind right this second. I think super excited for the next race. I think it's going to be lots and lots and lots of action. And if I remember correctly, it will be on January 29th. I will double check that right this second. Let
Yeah,
me
I'm looking it up myself. It's 2 weeks from now. And let's see. I was
Yep,
going to check the
January 29th.
location of that race.
That's Silverstone
Yep,
in
that is the
GT3s.
Silverstone. Yep.
And I'm pretty sure, is
Oh,
that the first endurance race? Am I correct in saying that, or are the endurance races a little
I
later in
am
the
not.
series?
It is not an endurance race.
Nope,
It's
not
just
endurance race.
GT3s
Yep,
at Silverstone on January 29th. Silverstone, GT3s. What else do you need to know? Get your tickets now. Get ready to liven things up in England right at Silverstone Park. It's going to be an amazing, amazing race, amazing time there. Can't wait to see the faster cars running at that track.
absolutely.
All right. So, race fans, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate your patronage. This is the Monticello Motorsports Esports Challenge, race number 2, with Derek Leonard and Metro Crawford signing off here from the suburbs of Sydney, Australia. Thanks for watching, everybody. It was a great race. Dimitro, take us out, my friend.